The dog began to growl, and its face began to open. The scars Ken saw became slits. As its face ballooned open, the slits spread apart and formed 4 black flaps, with each flap having at least 24 sharp teeth. The growl turned into an ear-piercing screech. Ken fell backward and began to kick his feet out, propelling him backward. "What the fuck?" Ken yelled as the thing took small steps toward him. The beagle's slow strides became larger as the fur from its legs slipped away, revealing long, slick, twig-like legs. The thing doubled in size. A black ink-like substance oozed from it. On small parts of the beagle's body was from skin and fur, but underneath it was a black mass. How this thing was contained in that small dog, Ken could not understand. Ken's backpedaling halted when his back met the kitchen counter. The demonic creature let out a final screech and leapt toward Ken. He kicked his leg out, and the creature's flaps clamped down on his foot. Ken let out a yelp, then a scream. He looked down at the creature, and it was whipping its head back and forth like dogs do when they get a hold of a chew toy. He could feel the thing's teeth piercing his leg, giving him that pins and needles feeling one gets when blood flow is cut off, but 10 times worse. He pelted its mushy head with his fist, but it did no good. He reached for the kitchen drawer, grabbed a large knife, and plunged it into the creature's side. He immediately let go of Ken's leg and screeched. Then it ran back out of the kitchen and hid behind the couch. Ken attempted to stand, but he could not put any weight on his ankle. He cursed as pain surged through his body. He hobbled to another drawer in the kitchen and pulled out the Ruger he used to put the dogs down. He hoped it would do the trick. He loaded a cartridge into the gun and turned the safety off. He turned his body toward the couch. He leaned against the counter to take off the pressure of his hurt foot. The thing that had been Wilmer came around the corner and screeched. Ken fired, but the shot missed. The creature leapt at Ken again, causing him to fall on his back. Ken held the dog's throat as it tried to clamp its toothy flaps onto Ken's face. Ken struggled, leaning one way and then the other, not wanting to look directly at the thing. Its tongue slid out of its mouth. It was unusually long. The tongue landed on Ken's face and rubbed at it in a circular motion. Ken squirmed at the slimy feel of its tongue game off. Then the thing began to spew ink straight into his face. Ken struggled to breathe as it came at him in full force. The thing screeched, and Ken cursed. He worked the gun underneath Wilmer and fired. The creature went flying and hit the ground a few feet away from him. Ken took a deep breath and fell backwards onto the kitchen floor. He killed it. He was safe now. He closed his eyes and breathed heavily, in through his mouth and out through his nose. He thought about pulling the poster from his front pocket and giving the nice old lady some harsh words. He had so many questions he wanted answered, like what exactly was her little pet, because Ken knew damn well this wasn't any kind of dog he had ever seen before. Was it a mutated dog? An alien? What could that demonic creature be? He reached into his pocket for the poster, but it wasn't there. It must have fallen out of his pocket. He shut his eyes and leaned his head back. Then a sudden thought came into his head. Aldrich! A deep growl ripped through the air, and Ken opened his eyes to see the shepherd hovering over him with its flaps ballooned, fully opened. It was much bigger than Wilmer, so it must have needed more time to shed its dog-like exterior, probably lurking in the restroom during the scuffle with the beagle. The thing growled, and his face opened into 4 large flaps. Food. The deep, rumbling voice turned into a guttural demand. Ken realized then that the thing was putting the word into his head. It was talking to him telepathically. Aldrich was informing them that it was hungry, and Ken was the only thing in stock. It let out one final screech and brought its face down on Ken's with lightning speed.